Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies, and I'm Bill the Dealmaker.
Good morning, Bill.
Morning. I'm Naomi.
I'm Naomi. We need a name.
Last I checked.
Last you checked? Uh-oh.
I might be having an identity crisis, though.
Oh,
After
no.
all, last week Pete made an insinuation that I might be a vampire.
Ah.
I don't know if it was like Halloween themed or what was going on, but to prove you wrong, I ate a breakfast of garlic this morning.
Ah.
So you two get to be the beneficiaries
Aha.
of
That's why we're.
That's why we're like.
Pete has a fan club of radio host names. He likes to be what'd you call it? Radio personalities. Is that what you said we needed when we were in WLI?
When you first start, well, yeah, when you have a show, it's you can be yourself, but you still have to have like what's your job or your hat, your persona, your persona at the time. So I just don't
persona. That's all we need is another persona around here.
Well, we got another persona. There's another one coming, maybe.
Yeah, we were supposed to be with Philip this morning, but I totally screwed that up. All right, so we're on episode number 72, and I have not a very fancy name for it. It's just how you can benefit from these deal structures. So we're just going to do deal structuring today, Peter.
Okay.
You want to know why?
Nope.
Very simple.
You just do it. Well,
I'm Bill the Dealmaker, and I just want to do some deal structuring. That's all.
That's why I didn't want to know.
This is what we do.
You ever tell you the story about my kids?
Lots of stories. Which one?
Yeah, exactly.
How you got your name?
Yeah. No, you gave me the name.
No, it came from. I found it.
Yeah.
I just found it. It was floating around.
I don't know. One day we were having a conversation, my kids and I don't know what happened. And my oldest Jessie, she was kind of talking about Kona College and all these like fancy and I said to her, I have letters at the end of my name. She goes, what are they? I said DM. She said, oh really, Dad? What does that mean? I said, Dealmaker. And she just about wanted to slap me, but it's true. Bill Hawthorne, DM.
That's right.
Should put those on my business cards, right?
You should.
Yeah, I make as much as a doctor does.
Definitely, probably more.
So
probably
why
more.
can't I have letters after my name?
Once you figure in all the malpractice insurance and
yeah.
My friend's doctor, he says he works 5 days for 2 days' pay. The rest is gone.
Yeah.
2 days out of 5.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yikes.
Office expenses. Yeah.
Yuck.
Okay, we ready? Sound is good. Cameras are good. Everything's all right. We can jump right in. Yeah? Okay. Okay, Peter. Here we go. So the first deal I want to work on today is what? Yeah, I'm going to get to her in a minute.
All right.
Oh.
I thought it was like, okay, Peter, here's the show. Okay, Peter and Naomi, here's the show.
Oh, okay, Peter and Naomi, here's the show.
She went like, what about me?
I know. I was feeling very offended and left out, and my therapist will.
I'm covering for you.
Okay, Peter. So here's the deal. You're going to make this deal for me.
Okay.
Okay, this is a test.
All right.
All right? This is just like
Drum
we're doing
roll.
on the coaching calls. This is what we do on the coaching calls, all right? So you have a seller, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the house is in good condition, okay?
Yep.
And it's worth $200,000.
Sure. We're $200,000.
It's worth $200,000, right?
As is.
Yeah, but the loan balance is $230,000, and he's got a $1,580 payment, $1,580 payment.
Yeah.
With 27 years left.
Okay.
Ooh.
Seller's getting a divorce and leaving town, gone, right?
Yep.
But he's bit credit conscious and knows that knows he's over leveraged, and he doesn't want to do like a foreclosure or short sale or anything like that.
All right.
So what do you do?
There's only one thing you can do.
Tell me.
Well,
Walk away?
no.
That's what most investors do.
That's right. Well, they don't have our strategies now, do they?
Aha!
Well, you cannot sell it normal, conventional style because it just costs too much, and you would have to put thousands and thousands into the sale to get it covered and pay the fees and all that stuff. So what we would do is $235, huh?
He owes $230 on a $200,000 house.
$230. Boy, I don't like going.
Wow.
I don't like going more than $220 though.
Mm-hmm.
Think we can stretch it another 10? It's $230.
You have this seller in front of you,
I know.
and you have to make an offer. Come on now. Now, we haven't talked about it in quite a while, but you want to go from rookie to apprentice, so let's go.
Apprentice?
Whatever you were talking about.
I'm already an apprentice.
Well, if you are, then you would make this offer. What are you stumbling for?
Actually,
the person's sitting in front of you, and they know numbers, so come on.
Well, I haven't done this exactly. Let me do the math. The math-wise, I would actually like to offer the guy $220.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So I don't like going more than 10% over the actual value of the house, personally.
Okay.
I mean, what bank would give you more than 10%, more than what something is worth? So most I could do was $220. Of course, I would ask him what the least he would take would be.
Right.
I would ask him what the least is.
Right.
And when he told me that, I would say, is that the best you can do?
Well, he owes $230, so that's the best he can do.
I would ask. I mean, if he sells it conventionally, he's out of pocket $30-40 grand.
Okay.
So I would find out what his best numbers are, but I would try not to go more than $220 personally.
So why is he out of pocket $30 or $40 grand?
Well, the cost of selling a piece of property is more than the 6% to the realtor that people think about.
Right.
What happens when you go to the lawyer's office? How much does he want?
Mm-hmm.
What's the discount when somebody says, gee, would you take $195? Would you take whatever? He's going to ask something less.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sell it for $230. It's not worth that.
Mm-hmm.
So you do all the discounts. You do the selling with the realtor. You do the maybe some maintenance you might have to do. Oh, it sounds like, is it a new house?
Didn't say.
Didn't say. Okay. He's only 3 years into the mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Didn't say that either.
Well, he's got 27 years left on the mortgage, so I was taking a wild guess.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyways, I would offer him $220, and I would take an option on the house, and I'd find somebody who would give me $230 for the house, and somebody's not creditworthy right now who'd be willing to pay the little extra because his wife is hammering him to get in the house, and I'd find a buyer, get $230. Take probably a $10,000 or $15,000 deposit, and get him credit worthy. And in a few years, he would cash the guy out for the remainder.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
What would you do, Naomi?
Say the same thing.
He's pitting us against each other. Good thing we don't have weapons.
Well, Pete's wrong all about that. He's all washed up. I'm the new gun in town, and I would do
Is maybe take a word from the people that have a little more experience. But no, the way I would handle that, or an alternative way possibly, and I think there's that way is good, but as conversation ensues, and what we need to find out too would be the gentleman's financial situation and what's going on there. But possibly looking at the rent for the house, if we were able to get $2,000, for example, and his mortgage is what, 15 something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's $500 possible cash flow. If we did an option on it and sold it for less expensive than the $230, and then during the time that he has that rented out, be it 2 years, what's $500 times 2 years? Let's see.
$12,000.
$12,000. And then if it ends up being a little bit more, say the first person doesn't pan out, say there's a second person that comes along, that's $24,000. So talk him into a less expensive price with the understanding that if the payments of $2,000 are coming to him, he'll come out okay. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah.
Because the $500 extra could just go to him. We step out of the picture, so we propose to purchase it for say like $210. Sell it for $230 with the hopeful advantage that somebody that needs a rent to own type situation will pay that $230. Our option fee would be $20,000 or whatever the option would be. In
So you're saying you would go for a principal reduction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then stay in the deal.
Or he could stay, or we could step out, where he would be getting that $500. The cash. Say it was rented for $2,000 a month. he would be getting a cash flow of, and we stepped out and he got the $2,000 every month. So he would be getting the $500 every month of cash flow. So that's $12,000. It depends on his financial situation. It's a conversation of information that we don't have yet. So I think that Pete's idea is great, but this could be a possible alternative. If he says, oh no, I really need to have this amount. I can't afford to eat 10, 20,000. Here's a possible alternative. That's all. Of him staying in, we step out after we bring the tenant buyer to the table.
Okay.
But he gets a cash flow of about $500 every month, which in 2 years, you said, about 12,000, right? So that would help him get back, closer to that number. I mean, I think it's his best option, providing everything pulls through.
Right.
We do our best, but yeah.
Okay. So, the first lesson that I want to probably, if you want to call it a lesson, but the first thing that I would want to bark about this morning is I personally really deep down, very far down, as far as I can go inside, really believe that by this time next year, the market is going to adjust. I really believe that.
And when you say adjust, the price is going to come down or go up?
Well,
what does that really mean? I hear people saying that. I go, like what?
Yeah. So right now, I feel like we're in the peak of the market.
Prices are high?
Yeah. Okay. They're not as high as they were in 2006 and 2007.
Those are really unrealistic. Those are really like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I also personally believe, and this is not any thing other than just my own, I don't even know what it is. It's just what I think.
History?
No.
Intuition?
Intuition, yeah.
Patterns.
I think the next, because, yeah, so I've explained to you before that I have noticed now, I'm 53 years old, so I was born in 1963, so I obviously don't have a lot of observation on my own other than, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, that kind of stuff. But when you look at those decades, and I've told you this before, when you look at those decades, the 8-year always crashes. The 9, the 10, and the 1 year are bad, and it starts to recover. And the 2 year, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 6, the 7 are the peak years. And if you look back all the way to at least the 70s, I think you can go further. I mean, I didn't live those years other than history. I mean, the stock market crash, when was that? was a 9 year, right? An 8 or a 9 year, right?
In the 70s?
No.
Recently?
No, the 30s.
Oh, 30s.
Yeah.
It was like 1930.
Yeah, so that's what I'm
30
saying.
to
So it was
33.
29, 30, it was in that, it's in the same pattern.
Uh-huh.
It's an
That's what I'm
average of
saying.
an 8-year cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I personally believe that we will take an adjustment. I also believe that the next adjustment we make, because every year, every 10 years or every 8, 9, 10, those years, it's precious metals, it's interest rate. The last one we just did was a credit crunch. They pulled back on all the credit. The guys in Switzerland pulled back, and they were controlling the government through. Anyway, so through
It's not the same thing every time.
No. I think the next problem we're going to run into is going to be city governments collapsing. That's what I think. I don't know that for sure. It's not like I've spent tons of times researching. I don't even have the right to even say what I'm saying. It's just an intuition. So now the only caveat to all of that is that Donald Trump is in office, and maybe he gets some tax laws and some things changed around, and that might change it, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, nobody's broken the pattern yet, so.
Without getting shot?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
I was there in 63, man.
Yeah.
You were there?
Not there. I saw Kennedy when he was campaigning in Hartford when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool moment.
I'll bet.
So anyway, I don't know that that's correct, but I believe in enough of it that I think the market's going to correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the reason why
very polite words.
Correct, yeah.
Very polite words using correct.
AKA blood in the streets.
Yeah, well, it could be just a little bit, it could be a lot, it could not happen. But I do know one thing, that the questions that I get asked, in fact, I just added a couple coaching clients on this week, and I get asked and when I'm interviewing them, which is really them interviewing me, I get asked that question twice this week. What do you think is going to happen with the market, and what happens with your system when the market does this? And my answer is, will we go from doing one type of a deal, like right now we're doing rehab retails, and that kind of stuff. And Peter, as well as I do, because you made a comment about it a couple weeks ago about how I'm doing rehab retails. I stopped doing that. I mean, I have one that I'm doing right now. I actually have a couple of them I'm doing, but what are we chasing now, Naomi? We're chasing terms deals.
Yeah.
Because we need to get the pipeline full so that when the market corrects, we start doing subject to deals and lease options, because that's what people will want.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason why I bring all that up in this deal structure is because at the end of the day, only two things count. Well, one thing counts. You need to make money. And the way you make money is through equity and through cash flow.
Right.
So my concern with this deal, and we just bought a deal and I have some concern with it too, is that when you buy a $200,000 house and you start pushing for $1,800 a month for rents,
Right.
those are the tough points.
Right.
Now, Grant Cardone, who's a maniac, a complete maniac, says the sweet spot is between $800 and $1,200 a month, and he's right. But how do you find those houses?
$800 and $1,200
a month. Those are recession proof.
Okay, but there's different markets all around the country. So where is he talking?
That's a great question. Because that's really
California, North Carolina, Florida. Here, it's all different.
I mean, that's really cheap. $800 to $1,200 for a house.
Yes.
Yeah.
All over the country.
So he's saying just $800, $1,200 anywhere.
He's saying that's recession proof.
Okay. Well, 8 someplace and 12 someplace.
Recession proof. I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's recession proof because those people. That's what people will revert to when it's time, because people got to live.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So the fact that you offer owner financing and no bank qualifying, and that you can make a deal the old-fashioned way, right? So cash is king.
Yeah.
So when you're structuring deals, cash is king, right? So how do you take this deal? Because remember, there's the three rules. The three rules are cash now, money later, money now, money monthly, money later.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
So when we're looking at deals, that's what we talk about. So if we're going to risk money monthly and we're going to risk money later, then we don't want to do the deal. Right?
Unless we're stepping out.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Okay. So your idea is clever, and I get that, and we can have that conversation.
Right.
But what happens when in a year from now or 2 years from now the market... Well, let's just put it this way. Do we all agree that the market's going to correct?
Yes.
It always does.
Yes.
It always does. It's going to take a hit. We're going to have a crash. Something's going to happen, and it's going to correct. It always does. It's ever not done it.
Right.
Does it affect all sectors of the economy equally? Like the last one on the housing was housing. So if it's a different kind of crash, would it affect housing as much as it did? Or could it be less than it did if it's like something else goes crazy? Or just because people have trouble with money, houses are places that everybody has to live.
Right.
So,
but people have trouble with money.
Yeah.
And they handle it differently.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, technically, if you think about it, we're in a big fat scam anyways. I mean, if you really think about it. Because the single-family house was ingrained into us that's the American dream. Right? So it's actually the bankers swindled us. Because think of it this way. If the banker didn't have mortgages, how much power would they have? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, really, I mean, this is a harsh thing to say, and I probably shouldn't say it, but we think that we don't have slavery anymore, right? That we fought and the slaves are free, right? We replaced it with business. We're slaves to business, to empires, and banking is one of those empires. And it's so insidious we don't even know it's there. It's like saying to a fish, "Look at the water," and he says, "What water?"
Right.
there's so much money and so much empire, we don't even see it. So the dream is, here's what you do. You get a good job, right? You save for retirement. Oh, yeah, by the way, how about the stock market boys? How have they done? They did a great job, right? Take all your money and put it in these mutual funds. If the stock market didn't have retirement money, where would they be? So we got the stock market and the bankers sucking the money out of America so they can become rich. I mean, that's what it is, in my opinion. I'll probably get shot when I leave here today. It'd be some sniper on the roof or something like that.
Go out the back.
Go out the back. Just stay in my basement. To hell with it. And serve me food 3 times a day, would you?
Or lock the doors.
Get some armor plate. And get on Amazon. See if they got some armor for the windows. Right? So, I mean, think about it. That's the way it is, right?
That's the way it is. So you have to learn the rules of the game.
Right.
So the game changed, and I feel like the game changed when Nixon took, us off the gold standard.
Exactly.
Everything changed.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, that allowed the stock market boys to go in and back up the money with T-bills, T-bonds, right?
Yeah.
And then, like you talk about all the time, watch The Big Short, and you'll get an education there.
oh yeah,
The movie The Big Short, right?
Yeah.
That's real.
yes,
That's not bullshit.
and it's still going on.
Yep.
It's structured a little bit differently, but yeah.
So the single-family house is designed. Well, let's just take it all the way. We're down the rabbit hole. We might as well go all the way. So the federal government can't print money, right? They can do gold coins. The Constitution says they can make gold coins, but they can't print money. So that means the federal government, when they want money, what do? They go to the Federal Reserve, right, which is a privately held entity, and they print the money.
No, wait, it says Federal Reserve. That must be the government.
Yeah.
But
Must
no,
be. It
it's
says it right
private.
on the bill. It's federal.
Privately owned.
They can't call it. What?
So if you look at the money that we have, it says it's a note, which
bizarre.
means that the Federal Reserve wrote a note to the United States government saying they owe them that money, right? So here's the big question. Let's be obvious. So let's say the federal government's called up and said, okay, print me $10 billion. Okay? Now they print the $10 billion and it's in a warehouse because it's paper money. It's real.
Can I go pick some up?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
If you can get in. Okay.
Oh, Pete and I, we can figure it out. Very stealthy.
Oh, boy.
No, there's definitely going to be snipers.
Oh, man. All right. So how do they physically get the money into the economy? How do they get that printed money into the economy?
I know because you pointed out to me. When you go to the bank and you say, gee, can I have $100,000 to buy this nice house I'm looking at?
Right.
Sure, buddy. Let me make a phone call.
Right.
So how much do they get, Bill?
So, yeah. So what happens is things were devised like Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae and FHA and VA and
Bernie Mac.
All those entities, government-run entities, is a way. It's like the mob washing money. It's the way they're washing their money. So they deposit all that money into those accounts. Now watch this. You go get a $100,000 mortgage, and you got 38 documents to buy that mortgage. At least it used to be. I don't know about it anymore. But 38 documents, you buy that mortgage, right? You sign all those 38 documents or whatever you got to do. The bank adds one document to it, which is 39 documents, sends to the federal government, and it takes that $100,000 and it turns it into $1 million. So that means the bank gets $1 million for your $100,000 mortgage.
You just ask for leverage it up to $1 million.
It's,
Right.
it's
They
a-
10x
the last
$10
document. I
for
forgot
each
what
one,
it's called.
yeah.
I can look it up, but I forgot
Fractional?
what it's called. It's something.
Yeah.
But it's a specific document so they can get a 10-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
Because that's what the bank works off of.
Where can I get me one of those, Bill?
Yeah. So when people talk
Tell you
about
what.
foreclosure all the time, they talk about, the bank needs to sell the house. No, they don't. They made $900,000 on your $100,000 house.
And
Hello?
even furthermore, after you miss 3 payments, they submit a claim to their insurance, so they get paid
Right.
again.
Right.
And
So they're getting paid 2 or 3 times, and then they turn around and bang you over the head to get the money and foreclose, and there you go.
yeah, and then plus they get your house.
Yeah.
How many times do they get paid on that one house?
Exactly. They like the default.
Not even when you get into the, you're not even talking when you get into the the investment side of the things and the securitization of everything. It's
Right.
mind blowing.
So if you want to get more information on this, there's 2 books that you should read. One is The Creature from Jekyll Island, right? And the other one is Crisis by Design. Those are
Say
2.
the first book again. The Creature of
Jekyll Island.
Jekyll Island. Okay. From Jekyll.
From Jekyll Island.
It's the island off the coast of Georgia where the boys and girls got together and developed the Fed back in 1911, 13, somewhere back there. Over Christmas break when everybody was home and nobody noticed. Thank you, Woodrow Wilson.
Wow.
Snipers.
Snipers.
And the other one is Crisis by Design.
Okay.
Who's that written by him? I think it's Bruce Wiseman, but I'm not sure. He's got
Or his
8 or
pen
9
name.
pen names, yeah.
You know, if that's the way it is, we should do a different system where you go to the bank, ask for the $100,000, they get $900,000, they let you keep the $100,000, keep the house, we got 9, and we all go, ha ha, thanks a lot. What's wrong with that way?
Crisis by Design by John Truman Wolfe.
It's a great name.
Crisis by Design by John Truman Wolfe. That's the better of the 2 books to read because it's shorter and it's right to the point. Crisis, Jekyll Island, the one from Jekyll Island it's a 2-inch book, but it starts like way back in time.
300 years or so?
Yeah, it's like quite a while ago. It starts back in the blacksmith had a safe and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know, I've seen the short video that starts there with the blacksmith and goes up to now, and it's like a 7-minute video. I couldn't tell you where to find it, but it pops up on Facebook.
Yeah.
If I had the name of it, I'd tell you go look at it. It's 7 minutes, and
So speaking of Facebook,
holy crap!
So if you're listening to the podcast, just go to Facebook.com/Flipping Houses for Rookies. Find this podcast, and Emma just uploaded both links into the chat box, so you can do that. Thank you, Emma. So you can go hit them. What is it, Amazon you went on? Yeah, so you can go get them on Amazon. Okay, so why are we talking about this in the middle of this deal? Because I want to bring up a very valid point here. The only thing you should be looking at in a deal like this where he's over-leveraged is how much fee could you get. That's the only thing you should be looking at. And just like what Naomi said, we want to go in and go out. We don't want to stay in. Because you don't want to end up with a property that's over-leveraged at $1,580 a month. There's not much room. You know, my rule of thumb is, apartment owners want $200 a door. That's not enough. I like $300 or $400. And if it's not that way, we just did a deal in Meriden, and it's kind of tight.
Yeah.
But we
it
have
is.
equity.
Yeah.
Okay? So the part that I want to make, that got me on this rant here, the part that I want to make really known is that when shit hits the fan, because I've been there, when shit hits the fan, equity don't mean crap. Equity means a promise to appear.
Sounds like a promise, yeah.
It's a promise to appear.
It's like an engagement ring, Bill.
Oh, boy. You realize there's 2 women in the room, right?
Oh, I just heard this funny show on Radio Classics, Luigi and Pasquale. There's a diamond ring and mafia. It was a funny little story. That's all.
Okay.
A diamond ring and mafia.
Yeah. And then Rosa.
If we had more
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
like to hear
It's
about
a 1930-something radio show from the Radio Classics on the radio.
this. Sounds riveting.
But I digress.
Sounds like that's time that he should be making offers. That's
I'm
what
in
it
the
sounds
car
like to me.
driving. I'm in the
Get
car
on the
driving.
phone. What do you do in the car, Naomi? I'm on the phone. Actually, that's not true. I do listen to some podcasts once in a while.
So do I. Yeah.
Okay, so in this particular case, the house has no equity. We're going to do a slot deal, sandwich lease option transaction. We're going to go in. We're gonna promise him the $230. Okay, we are going to try to sell for $237, $235, $234, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Here's the reason why: we only gave the guy $100 to procure the property.
Right.
So anything over $100 is what?
Profit.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you can't go broke making profits. Just can't happen.
I do have a question about the number. I thought I saw somewhere where you don't want to go more than like 10%, roughly over the value of the house.
Right.
It's a little more than that. It's close enough for you?
Yeah, let me know how you make out with that data.
Huh? I thought I got it from you.
Actually,
Well, I mean, it's got to be a limit. Some guy goes, I want 300,000. You go like, eh.
It is a little strong. I do have some concerns about that.
Yeah, because you have to find two things. You have to find a buyer that would have it, and don't you have to have a bank appraisal when he comes to cash out be within the right amount, the appraisal amount?
He would, because he would bring it down from 230 to 220 with the deposit.
Yeah, getting closer.
Still
Naomi,
20,000.
Naomi is correct, because there are some other options there. The house has to be pretty. That's one thing that we don't talk about when we're talking about deal structuring, is the house pretty or ugly. That makes a big difference, because even if the house just needs rugs and paint, it won't work. If the house needs landscaping, it won't work. And oh yeah, by the way, whose money's going to fix all that? Not ours.
Right.
No.
When we put money into a deal, when I mean money, I mean more than $1,000, because sometimes you need to have $1,000 to buy a house. When we put money in the deal, and even then, it's really more than $100. But sometimes I'll play with $1,000. But even then, more than $100, we want a deed. We want to protect our money.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that make sense? Now, suppose that same deal, that same exact deal, was this way. So the seller calls you; it's worth $200,000, right? The loan balance is $230,000, but his mortgage payment is $1,080.
Changes everything.
So what happens now?
Naomi, it's your turn.
We're going to stay in the deal.
Yeah, so that breaks my formula, though.
Yeah.
Because my formula is you should have 15% worth of equity. So that's a personal decision you have to make. And why would you make that decision, Naomi?
Because the monthly cash flow.
Right.
That's why.
So technically, you could bring in $6 or $7 or $8 grand for a deposit, a non-refundable deposit.
Correct.
Right. But then you could rent for $1,700 or $1,800. Now you got a $700 a month cash flow.
Exactly.
That's $8,400 a year.
Which is better than the first option.
So you got your calculator? Do $700 times 60.
Okay, 700.
$700 times 60.
42,000.
So there you
There
go.
you go. Changes everything.
So if you did 60 months, which is 5 years, and you may not get that with this guy, well, let's just do it for 2 years. Let's do 700 times 24.
1,680.
So that's $16,800 plus add $7 grand to it.
23,800.
So it's $23,800. So here's my point. It breaks the lease option formula, because remember, when we do the 7 formulas, lease option is 15% worth of equity, right?
Right.
It's just a rule of thumb. It's not a law. If you want to make $23,000, would I do that deal? Probably not. I have to look at it. Right?
If it was a real pretty house, maybe.
Yeah, it depends on some other factors.
Yeah.
Okay? So, you could just add it to the pile.
A deal like that, the first month is the riskiest. The second month is a little less. If you got time, as time goes on, your money comes in.
Right.
Something happens. Well, you got the money to cover it. In the very beginning, you're in the red.
Why?
Well, only if something happens, you get stuck with the house and you have to sell it, and then you can't sell it because it's over leveraged, and you have his problem.
Right.
But if the longer you hang on to it, the more equity, the more money you have, and you're okay.
Right.
And you could sell it for whatever.
You went in with $7 grand down.
Yeah.
So it takes it from 230 down to 223, right?
Sure.
And then the first month you got 700, so now it's
Yeah. So every month you're in better position. So time's on your side with that. So every month you feel a little more comfortable with it.
right.
But that $7 grand, it is going against the selling price, but not necessarily against the mortgage, because that's $7 grand that you hold in reserve
Right.
for the what if stuff.
Right.
So anyway.
Yeah, so those are just a couple of scenarios. So it all comes back to money now, money monthly, money later.
Yeah.
Here is the law, the absolute law. The day you buy a house, you have to have equity or know how you're going to get your equity. You have to have cash flow, and you have to have money later. And money later is equity. I'm sorry, money now. So I'm going to do that again. So the day you buy a house, you have to have equity. You have to know where your money monthly, if you're going to keep it, how much money monthly are you going to do, and then you need to know how much money now. Right? I mean, last time we did the last week, which was show number 70,
71 last week.
Yeah.
Yep, show number 71. Okay. We talked a lot about that. We talked about how I structure deals, right, where we get money now. When we borrow the private money, we get 10 grand now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put somebody in the house.
Yeah.
Right? We get the monthly non-refundable, the non-refundable money.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we sell it, we get, so there was 3 profit centers.
Yes, there were.
Right? So the bottom line is the way our banking system is set up, although it is crooked as hell, we still need cash.
Yeah.
Right? All right, good. Does that make sense? So you would do a slot deal, right? And we talked about that.
Yep.
All right. How about this one? And if you notice, I'm picking like not our standard 7 ways to do deals. I'm picking some different deals because these are scenarios you're going to run into when you're out there. Okay? So how about the house has some equity, but the payments are in the rear. Okay? House is in good condition, and you could like stay in or you can get out. So let's talk about it. Okay?
How much are the payments in arrears?
Yeah. So let's say your seller is going to walk away from the house.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first sign that they're motivated. They don't know what else to do. They're going to walk away.
They're moving out.
They're moving out. There's U-Haul trucks in the driveway. Okay? And the after renovated value is $200.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So the loan balance is $172 and the payment's $1,080 and it's 3 months behind.
Okay.
What was the mortgage? 170.
172.
172
Okay.
at 1080 for a payment.
Mm-hmm.
Monthly
1,080.
is 1,080.
Yep.
My inclination would be to catch them up.
Mm-hmm.
And
So which deal structure do you do to catch them up? It's a very simple answer. You shouldn't have to think about it. What did I just get done telling you? If you
Right.
put money in the deal, what do you got to get?
Equity.
yeah, equity.
Nope. If you put money in the deal, what do you got to get? Okay. So
have to get the
which
deed.
deal are we going to use?
So the option.
Would be getting the deed.
Yeah.
Not the option.
Yeah.
Would be getting the deed.
Subject to.
Would
get
be
the deed.
subject to
Or the
getting the
yeah.
deal.
Yeah, the numbers at 172, you're somewhere in the
Mhm.
85% or 80% range where you can
Yeah.
get get the deed.
Right.
So these are little factors you got to look at. These are little rules and stuff you got to look at. I don't even know what to call them, but so as soon as you say catch up the payments, so that means we're going to put in $3,500. We'll
Correct.
say, okay. It's actually more than that because you're going to catch up the payments. Let's do the math, Peter. Uh-oh.
I got a call.
Uh-oh. Is it Maslick?
Yeah.
Okay. So Peter's going to leave us. His lawyer's in court this morning with an eviction.
Hello.
So
okay,
let's,
so 1,080
yeah. So 1,080
and then
times 3.
times 3
Yeah.
is 80. That's it's about 3,300
Yeah.
roughly, and then plus
And could you
late
grab
fees,
my calculator off my desk,
because
please?
you've got late fees
Yeah.
happening. What other fees are you thinking about?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that in 1 second. Let me just
Okay.
get a calculator here. I should have brought it. I should know better to do deal structure without a calculator. Thank you, sweetheart. All right, so we got 1,080 times 3, which puts us at 3,240. All right, so the subject to house that we just closed on, what did I promise the seller? Now they're walking away, so how much money do they have?
They don't have anything.
They don't have 5 cents.
No,
They're not even buying a bottle deposit.
no,
Okay?
no.
So what's the first thing that's going to happen when we file the deed?
We're gonna take over all of the utilities.
Nope. When we
and-
go to the town clerk's office
Mhm.
and file the deed, what's going to happen? And this is unfair because you haven't physically done this with me.
I don't know.
Okay, good. So first thing that's going to happen is we're going to have to pay conveyance tax.
Right.
Okay? So we're going to pay $1,720 because it's 1%.
Right.
So we got $3,200 plus $1,720, right? So right now we're in for $5,000.
Got it. It's
Okay.
eating up that equity.
That's minimum.
Just a bit.
Forget about that. Just that's cash. That's a check we have to write.
Right.
So to buy this house, we need $4,960 or $5,000. That's minimum. And then we got to do a title search. So for me, we'll say that's another $200.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's $4,960 plus $200. So now we're at $5,160. Okay. Now, I close these deals myself, but if you use an attorney, it's another $600 or $700,
Right.
$800, or a closing agent. So let's say $700, right? So now you're at $5,860.
Yeah.
So for you to take over this person's payments, and that's why we're talking about it, it's not $3,000.
Right.
It's $6,000.
Right.
Now, again, I just do the closings. I've done so many of them. It's I mean, there is no closing. You have them. You know, we just did one.
Yeah.
You know, so you get the documents, which, by the way, let me just cover this. You're not going to get my documents unless you're in my coaching program, because I don't want my documents floating all over, and I don't want you to do them the wrong way. So don't send in support tickets on how you get the documents. The way you get the documents is you go to flippinghouses.club/advanced coaching, and you read the coaching code page, and you become a client, or you just don't use my documents. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for being a jerk about that. It's just I get emails all the time. Where are the documents? The documents are they cost me thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of dollars to make and create. I'm just not going to let them float all over the internet. So maybe you can find them somewhere else, but you're not going to get them here unless you're coaching. And actually, I don't even care about the money. It's using the documents correctly. They're legal documents. I just don't want people just going off and doing all kinds of crazy shit with them, and then all of a sudden they tell me the system doesn't work.
Because you provide the training on how to fill them out.
I'm
correctly.
gonna review the documents before they submit them or before they file them
Right.
with my coaching
Which is a
clients,
big value.
which is a huge value. Yeah. Not only am I going to help you find deals, I'm going to help you structure deals. But when it comes time to doing paperwork, I'm going to give you my own Rolodex. I'm going to give you if I need to, I'll get my attorney involved. You know, we're going to talk about doing it the right way.
Correct.
Because if you're going to be my coaching client, you're going to be my coaching. You're like a kid to me. You know, I take really good. That's why I keep it limited. That's why I only have 20 or 20. You know, that's why, because otherwise I can't keep up with it.
It's time
Because I
consuming.
hold their hand. You know that because you're with me.
I know.
I hold their hands.
I know.
You know. All right. So you're going to take the 5 or 6 documents that we have signed. You're going to get them notarized, and you're going to go to the town clerk, and you're going to file the documents.
Yes, you are.
You own the house.
You own the house.
Okay.
Now you have marketing costs.
Yeah. Well, when you go to sell it.
Yeah.
So now you go to sell it, you're going to need to have a few bucks too. When I say a few bucks, probably less than $1,000. I mean, we're looking for signs right now, and well, how much was it, Emma, for signs? It was like so it was like a couple $100 for signs by the time you ship them, and that was like we were buying 50 signs. You don't need that many for a house. For one house, you need 15 signs, 20 signs. They'll take them and they'll disappear, so you might need a little bit more. Okay, and then the rest of it we kind of do online. So nowadays, selling a house isn't as expensive. It used to be we did mailings and print ads, and it was a couple $1,000s to sell. But nowadays, it's not like that. Okay, so anyways, off on the another tangent there. So we got $172 for a bank balance. We got $1,080 for a payment.
Yes.
Okay, so. First thing we got to talk about is so if the after renovated value is $200,000, how much are we really going to sell for?
We're going to try for more than that.
Yeah.
Because we have, the market is in our favor. We're working with the 81%.
Right.
I would think at least 215.
Yeah, I was thinking 210. But if we can comp it close, it depends on the comps. If we have some comps, some stragglers or some comps that are a little bit far away that are close, then we might do that. But I was thinking 210. I mean, if we're 210, right, minus 172, that gives us
minus the 7,000.
Yeah, well, we didn't get there yet, so.
Okay.
So 210 minus 172. That's 38,000. Okay, that's enough.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay. Plus, what's going to happen? All right. So we buy for 172. We're going to do the paperwork. We just talked about that. How we're going to do the paperwork. How much it's going to cost us. Right. So the big question is going to be what happens if I don't have $6,000.
Say it again.
Big question from our audience is going to be what happens if I don't have the $6,000.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do you get the $6,000 from?
Investors.
Okay. Where else?
Yourself.
Okay. Where else? I'm picking on Naomi this morning.
You're so picking on me. You can go to the feds that are printing billions of dollars.
Find where those crates of money are.
Pete and I will sneak in.
Right. So let's look at the obvious answer. How about our buyer? So if you have no money, you can go to this person and you could say to them, I'm gonna advertise your house. I'm gonna find the buyer, and when I find the buyer, I'm gonna bring the payments up to date. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna do the closing costs, and we're gonna do everything.
Okay, so it's contingent on the buyer coming in.
So in this particular deal, if you do what I'm telling you, mm-hmm. I mean, you could do it this way. I don't do it this way because I just roll.
Right.
But you could do it this way if you have no money. Okay,
sure.
You're gonna need $300. If you don't have $300, then just shut the podcast off now. You shouldn't be in the business. But you need $300.
What do you need $300 for?
You need $100 for just to bind the contract with them. So what I would do is, this is a little bit bizarre, mm-hmm. but I would do this. I would sign an option agreement with them so you have something in writing.
Okay.
Even though the option agreement is not a subject to paperwork, you don't have I would have them sign the subject to paperwork, mm-hmm. and I would have them sign an option, just because. Just because. So now everything's clear on how the deal is going to work. Mm-hmm. Because the subject to paperwork doesn't talk about numbers.
True.
It's just a deed, and it's a declaration of trust, and it's a few other things. Mm-hmm. Okay? Release documents for the bank, that kind of stuff. It doesn't clarify numbers. So I would sign an option agreement with them so we know I'm paying $172 and agreeing to pay you $1,080 payments. Mm-hmm. And I will do it as soon as I find my buyer. Right. So you would give them $100 for a deposit.
Correct, yeah.
And then you would need $200, in my case, $200 to do a title search. Because if this person's behind on the mortgage, it's very possible that taxes are behind in water and all other things. So you want to do a $200 search.
Medical bills, might have attached
IRS,
liens,
all kinds of stuff.
Right.
So you want to do a title search.
Right.
Okay, so you would just go, here we're a judicial state, so I use my attorney. I have clients that are in the Midwest that they don't need $200. They can do a title search. They'll do a title search for free. Mm-hmm. Some of them do it for $100. So it just depends on where you're at. You should find that person and ask them.
Wouldn't you want to do the title search first with that type of property?
Well, we are doing it first.
No, I mean even before paying the $100 for the option agreement.
Why? Tie it up.
Okay.
Tie it up for $100. Tie it up. Mm-hmm. Get it going.
Right.
Because we're already being wishy-washy.
Yeah.
By saying we got to go get our buyer.
Right.
Right. So if you have no money and you know you need $6,000, then let's go find our buyer. So now what happens is we find our buyer. So let's just say we find a buyer with $10,000.
Right.
Right. Is that real that somebody would put 5% down?
Very real. Probably more. That's conservative.
That's very conservative. Yeah. Right. So they put 5% down on a $200,000 house. That would be $10,000.
Right.
$11,000. Right. Yeah. So now they give you the $11,000. What's the first thing you're going to do?
You do what you need to do. The conveyance tax, catch the payments up.
Right. File the deed.
All of that. Put
it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wrap it up.
Now this is all presuming that it's a pretty house. It's in good condition.
Exactly.
Now if it's not a pretty house, it changes it. I mean the deal still works the same, but that's if it's not a pretty house and you can't sell the house because it's got some ugliness to it.
Right.
Then you would go raise some money and you would do what you were talking about before.
Right.
But in this particular case, you don't need to do that. So when I say there's 4 ways to buy a property for $100, I talk about the slot deal you could do for $100. You could do the option deal for $100. You could do a lease option deal for $100. And some subject to deals you can do for $100, like I just talked about.
Right.
You sign an option agreement. An option agreement to buy for $100, and then you convert that. You once you get your buyer, you convert that into subject to paperwork, and you close.
So simple. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like it was so simple and staring me in the face that. Yeah.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. We just got to do a few of them. That's all. Okay. Which is why you're here.
Yes.
Okay. So in this particular case, we would sell. Let's say we sell for $208. I mean, $210. That would give us $38,000.
Right.
Okay. So our payments are $1,080. So let's just be conservative and say we get $1,700. Right.
Which I think is completely realistic.
Yeah, on a $200,000 house. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's $620 a month, right? Can anybody use $620 a month?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to have that right now.
Sure.
Okay. Times 60 months. So that's $37,200 plus our $38,000. That's $75,200 in 5 years.
And that's just the monthly passive cash income.
No, it would be the monthly,
That's
the monthly
plus
plus
the
the
38.
equity.
Okay, got it.
So
But still,
assuming that our lease option person is going to cash us
Yeah.
out for the 209
Yeah.
or for 2099.
right.
Okay, so if you do $75,200 over 60 months, so you're going to divide that by 60, $75,200, right? So
Yeah.
$75,200 divided by. I'm going to I'm going to actually put my fingers on the right buttons here. Okay, 75,200 divided by 60 is $1,253 a month.
That's not bad.
Okay, so let's talk about set it and forget it. So we work
Okay.
on finding this deal,
Yeah.
right? We work on finding this deal. That's where the work is.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So it's the
There is.
true definition of an asset. You create it, you work for it once, and then it still keeps repeating and repeating
Right.
profit. Right? It's
Right.
called passive income. Right? So you work to find this deal. Yeah, it
Yeah.
might be a little bit hard. And yeah, you may think that it's not possible. And yeah, you might have a bunch of considerations right now. Why would somebody sell this house to you? But you only need one. You only
Right.
need one.
Right.
So you're going to talk to a lot of suspects. You're going to talk to a lot of people that are going to tell you you're nuts. You're going to talk to family members. You're going to talk. First of all, don't talk to anybody. Just talk. Remember the 4 steps of buying a house.
Yeah.
Number 1, find and communicate to a motivated seller. Number 2, tell him I buy houses, or her I buy
Right.
houses. Number 3, what do you need? In this case, they need $172,000 and $1,082.80 a month and catch up my payments.
Yeah.
What do you tell them? I'll do that.
Absolutely.
There's your offer.
There you
They
go.
made the offer to you. Right?
Yeah. Just in telling you, this is what I need.
All right, so suppose
Yeah.
this takes you 3 months to find this deal.
Okay.
Okay? Suppose you spend $1,000 in marketing to try and find this deal, which is stupid, but suppose you did.
Right.
Okay? Because honestly, the way we have it right now, you don't even need to do that.
Right.
It's just a matter of time.
Right.
Because you can call for sale by owners, use our script, and be done.
It's that simple.
Right? You do this deal, you're making $1,253 a month. Okay? So $1,253 a month divided by 4.3, which is the average weeks in a month. That means you're making $291 a week. $291 a week. Now, is it cash in your pocket where you're getting a check every single day? No, because you're making equity.
Right.
But my point is would you work a part-time job for $291 a week?
Yes.
How many hours would you work that job?
For that, maybe 15 hours, something. 32.
All right, so let's just say we divide that by, let's just be conservative and say 20 hours. That's $14.50 an hour.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So here's what I'm telling you, okay? I'm telling you that if you worked 20 hours a week, right? 20 hours a week
Times 1450.
times 4.3, which is the average weeks in a month, that's
Got it.
86 hours a month, times 60 months, you would have to work 5,160 hours to make that same amount of money before. That's not counting taxes.
Wow, Bill, when you put it like that, like, who wouldn't?
So I don't want to hear the whining and all the stuff that I got to listen to because I'm aggravated about that. Just freaking do it.
Absolutely.
Go to flippinghouses.club/FISBO script.
Who are you hearing whining from?
Oh, people send in support tickets. Go to flippinghouses.club/FSBO scripts. Download the script. Go find a for sale by owner site and make some phone calls.
Right.
If you feel like that's not working for you, go to flippinghouses.club/. I'm sorry. Yeah, go to flippinghouses.club/finding deals. I have an offer for $1 for the first 30 days and $67 a month, and I will show you how I do all my mail. I'll give you my letters. I'll show you how I stamp them.
Right.
I'll show you the whole thing for $67 a month.
Right. And just do it. I mean, when I first started making calls, I had no idea what I was talking about.
Right.
It was just,
And then we scripted
it was just failing forward and
Yep.
getting comfortable with just kind of like swimming in cold water. You just get in there, you jump in, you just do it.
Okay, so my point is do you have to do this 20 hours a week?
No.
Maybe in the beginning, you might do that for maybe a month. But then you get paid that same 20 hours a week for 60 months.
Yeah, you do.
$291 a week.
Right. But I mean, even 10 hours a week would be more than sufficient, but 20 hours would definitely do
I'm
it.
paying you 20 hours a week to work right now.
Right. You're talking about the numbers that yeah.
One deal, this one
Yeah.
deal where you find somebody that has a house that's worth 200, its loan balance is 172 and their mortgage payment is $1,080 a month.
Right. Right.
We'll pay you $291 a week. $290, that's with cash and equity.
Right.
So if you did that for 5 years, you would get paid. Now, yeah, granted, you got to wait 5 years to get some of your money because you got equity in there.
Mm-hmm. You're still getting, though, the monthly cash flow. That's
Okay.
nothing to sneeze at.
Now let's do this. Suppose we did one of those a year because we're lazy or because we have a bunch of ideas in our head that this can't work or blah, 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 blah. Okay? Let's just say we can get you listen to me enough and I inspire you enough to at least do one of these a year.
Woohoo.
One of these a year, okay? $290
Yeah.
a week times 5 equals $1,455 a week. A week times 4.3 is $6,256 a month.
And that's one.
That's just
A
doing
year.
one a year. After 5 years, at the end of 5 years, you'll have 5 of these deals.
You know, there's a lot of college educations that don't.
Teach that.
Yeah. Or, no, I mean, do that. Even after you get your degree, you know, then you have to find a job, and then, okay, maybe it's an apprenticeship, and then you have all the college bills, you know, school bills, and anyway.
So it's $6,200 a month. That's $75,078 a year. Now, granted, you're not getting paid that, so you can't quit your job because there's equity in there.
Right.
But you are earning $75,078 per year. And oh yeah, by the way, by the way, you have 5 houses now, and you now have a bunch of tax deductions. It's not like working by the hour where they're just taking the money from you. It reverses now because you have a bunch of tax deductions because you now own these houses.
Right. Completely changes that. Because if you were to have a paycheck, you know, a traditional job, and make that same amount of money, what would the tax bracket be? What, 38%? Around there?
Possibly.
And then this is much less.
Right.
I don't know the exact, but
Right.
much less.
Okay? So there's no reason, there is only one reason you don't get off your ass and you do this. And that's in
What?
your head. It's whatever conversation between your 2 ears that you're having with yourself.
See, you just got to stop thinking. You just do it.
That's what I believe.
Just do it.
I believe
Yeah.
that. I mean, I'm stripping it down to make it really simple, but honestly, it isn't much harder than that.
Right.
I mean, go to flippinghouses.club/Fizbo script. Go online, find some for sale by owner sites, and start dialing the phone.
Yeah.
You got 20 hours a week to do it. And oh yeah, by the way, let's just break that down. And you got 168 hours in a week. Mm-hmm. When you break it down, you have 20 hours.
Oh, you definitely
You
do.
have
Even
plenty.
if-
40 hours a week. We did that one week. We should do that again. 40 hours a week to work. That leaves you 20 hours a week with your family. That leaves personal time for you. There's plenty of time. You're just not managing your time correctly.
Right. So stop watching TV or Facebooking for 20 hours.
Right. whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Okay?
Invest in your future. That's why we're investors. Yeah.
Okay? And that's what it means to be a professional home buyer.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, only the pros are making money now. Only the pros are making money. And why is that? And what's the difference? I mean, Peter says the difference between an amateur and a pro is making money, and I don't. He's not here to defend himself because he's still on the phone with his lawyer for 10 minutes. So that's
Right.
makes me a little bit nervous about what's going on in court. But the point is that what makes you a pro? I think what makes somebody a pro is you're constantly enhancing yourself.
Right.
You're bettering yourself. You're spending money on you. You're getting educated, whether it's from me or from a book. I mean. I bought Peter and I a book, and I just ordered 3 more books. Ask Emma.
There's constant sharpening.
There's 2 things I spend money on for myself. 3 things. About every 6 months, I go buy clothes for myself. Okay,
That's good.
just because I do. I buy cigars, and I buy books. Other than that, anything that I buy has to do. I mean, obviously, I have a house and I have a car. But I don't have a fancy house. I don't have a fancy car. I just get those things because I need them to live.
Right.
Right? That's me. Not a lot of people are like that.
No.
But I've been through a few crashes, and I know what it's like when you go through a crash when you got the 5,000 square foot house.
Right.
That's not good.
I can imagine.
So I like to build assets instead of liabilities. I mean, all you got to do is read Kiyosaki's book, Cash Flow Quadrant. It'll
Great
explain
book.
it. It'll
Yeah.
explain it.
Yeah.
Right?
Definitely.
So there's no reason in the world why you can't do a couple of these deals. I mean, we just talked about a slot deal where you can make $7,200. Let's talk about that. $7,200. No, 77 we were talking about for the last deal, the slot deal. We were talking about $7,700 fee, right?
Yes.
7,700 divided by 4.3 equals $1,790. Divided by $20 an hour. That's 89 hours a week you can afford to make. And if you worked at a job making $29 to make $1,700, you would need to work 89.53 hours a week.
Wow. It's just leveraging your time.
Yes.
Leveraging your time.
So why wouldn't you do this?
There's no reason other than the little stuff that's going on in your head that's stopping you.
Right.
But learning how to leverage your time is very powerful.
Right. You don't need to go watch a bunch of videos. I mean, I have all that stuff, and you can learn all you want. What you need to do is stop feeding your brain and start moving your body. You need to do stuff. Stop feeding your brain and start moving your brain. Now, you need to feed your brain or your
But
mind.
the right kind of food,
Just enough information to point you in the direction. Like, for example, Jesse and I just went to Florida.
Right.
We were there a month ago or so, right? I went to Costco's and I bought a little bit of food. She wanted grapes and stuff like that. Costco's is my favorite place.
Cool.
So I went to Costco's. I got a little bit of food and some ice and put it in the cooler. Okay. We literally pointed the car southbound.
Okay.
Okay. I lit a cigar because it was. I mean, poor Jesse.
Oh my gosh.
You understand? You understand? When I drive, I like my car to be like Cheech and Chong. I like the smoke pouring out of the car. Okay. So I lit a cigar and southbound we went. We had an address. That was enough information for me. Go.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. It's kind of
22 hours later, we were there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I just moved.
You don't need to see the end of the Florida.
Right.
You just.
And we took a completely different route.
Yeah.
Now, I had to back up because I had Emma print me a map, right? So we had that, but I didn't need that. I knew where I was going.
Right. So when you were driving there, did you stop now and then to kind of contemplate, like, gosh, what if a deer crosses the road?
No.
Maybe I should pause a little bit. Maybe I should think about this.
Right.
Or what if there's a semi that's, in an accident? Maybe I should stop and
Or
think
what happens
about this.
what happens if I hit Washington D.C. at the wrong time and I hit traffic?
Yeah, you might want to stop and just think about that a little bit.
I don't do any of that. I just get enough data
Right.
and I move.
But that's how it is in making this happen.
Right.
You just go. You don't.
Right.
You're constantly improving yourself. You're constantly enhancing.
Go to flippinghouses.club/FISBO script. Download it. Get on the internet. Find a for sale by owner site and make some phone calls. I promise you, you make 5 or 10 phone calls, you are going to be smooth as glass.
Yes.
And if you make enough of those phone calls, you do them an hour a day. Because I say you want to start in real estate investing, here's how you do it. You do an hour of marketing a day, and you talk to clients an hour a day.
Yeah.
And now I don't even have to do that. I'm going to tell you, just do an hour a day. Call FISBOs.
Yeah.
If you do one deal where you made $7,700, even if it took you 3 months, let's say $7,700, it took you 3 months to do that one slot deal. Divide that by 3, that's $2,566 a month. Divided by 4.3 weeks in a month, that's $596 a week. Divided by $20 an hour, that means you got 29.84 hours you could work this week if you did one deal every 3 months.
Yeah. Wow.
And made $7,700 on a slot deal.
Right.
On a slot deal, you made $7,700 once every 3 months. That means you could work 20 hours a week, 29 hours, 29.84 hours a week, getting $20 an hour. And is $20 an hour a lot of money? To some people, yes.
It is. Yeah. But the experience you get with that, too. I mean,
and all you have to do at that particular point is just keep dialing the phone number, keep doing the script, and when they say yes to terms, then you ask them about this slot deal that we're talking about, and you tell them how it works, and you go out and do the paperwork.
It's that simple. Yeah.
And then you go sell it. So let's say it takes 3 months to buy it, sell it, find it, all that stuff. It's still, you can afford to work on it 29.8 hours a week.
Right.
At $20 an hour.
And the other thing, too, is when you're making the calls, you're going to come across that person that says, yes, let's do it. It happens. It's quick. It's fast. But the other people that are, that they're thinking about it and they're processing it in their mind, keep in touch with them.
Yes.
1 month, they might say, no, probably not.
Right.
Keep in touch with them. 3 months later, you know what? I changed my mind.
Time
it
changes
happens
everything.
all the time. Yeah. What do you say, Bill? One
time,
out of 3?
Time changes everything. 35% of my lead, 35% of the houses I buy come from follow-up.
Right. And it's some of the strongest clients that you'll have because they know you're solid.
Yep.
You're following up with them. They start referring.
Yep.
Don't disregard if people say no, basically.
Right.
Just be patient.
Totally. All right, so we're off the soapbox. We're way over time. We need to get out of here. So we're going to sign out. Thank you for being with us today. I hope we inspired you to go pick up the phone and call somebody and make one of these deals. We are going to continue to work on deal structuring for the next several weeks because I think this is where it's at. That's what people want to hear. That's what we need to do. This is what it's all about, is deal structuring. I'm in my glory when I do it. Just put the calculator in front of me and give me deals.
It's great.
If you have a deal and you want help with it, I'm going to go on a limb here. Send it to info@flippinghouses.club. Scan it and send it. We'll actually go over it on the call if you want.
Hey.
Yeah, if they actually have a deal, go to flippinghouses.club/prospect suspect. Is it form, Emma?
Either one.
Yeah, prospect suspect form. Download the prospect suspect form. Do the call.
Mm-hmm.
Fill out the information. Email me at info.club. The prospect suspect form, and we'll actually cover it. We'll cover it on the call.
Oh, that'd be great.
Who's doing that for free?
Nobody. What kind of value can you? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So right now we are going to go over to Finding Deals. We're on Facebook. If you're part of the Facebook membership, it's called Flipping Houses. It's actually, Flipping Houses for Rookies Finding Deals. You find us on Facebook. It's a closed group, and we go over there and we actually talk about marketing and how we can find deals and get these deals that we're talking about right now. So if you're part of that group, jump over there because we're going to do a post-podcast there. All right? Over and out. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.